Now, WBRZ News 2 at 4.
First, the top 4 headlines at 4. It's Election Day. The polls close in 4 hours, and there's a rush on them right now. We're there live with the turnout and details on the atmosphere. Plus, the last-minute push by the candidates hoping to work here. We've got team coverage of the longest election in 10 years. And the other items on the ballot in other places, from pot to minimum wage, we're taking a look at it all. Also, the wrecking ball swings at an historic school, but it's high drama before it comes crashing down. Good afternoon, I'm Brittany Weiss. Thanks for joining us for WBRZ News 2 at 4. More on those stories in a moment, but first, Pat Shingleton's forecast at 4.
Brittany, thank you, folks. Great weather on this election day, expecting it to last into the night. However, another break, too, is going to be rain. It looks like it's returning on Wednesday and lasting into Thursday. More on that in a moment. 77 degrees, the winds are calm. A nice night, a little bit of cloud cover, much warmer than other evenings. Here's the stretch of showers. It's going all the way from Indiana, southern Illinois, across Missouri and Arkansas, through Oklahoma and Texas. This is all in association with a front that is gradually sliding our way. Now, right now, they're getting ready for heavier rain in Shreveport, also in Texarkana, El Dorado, northeastern areas of Texas, all standing by for that. And the 24-hour look will find 67 degrees tonight at 10 o'clock, 64 at midnight. Could see some spots of showers coming into the daybreak hour, but really by afternoon tomorrow into the evening, the heaviest stuff is expected. We'll go 77 for your daytime high. So here you are then. The 7-day forecast finds shower activity mainly again in the PM hours, getting up to the 9% margin. Then Thursday, some lingering stuff. There's your cool down again Friday, Saturday, and also Sunday. So it is November, and the showers return for about 36 hours. We also have another clear out on Thursday, and we also have another cool down too as we get into Friday and into the weekend. Time now for Traffic Tracker. Let's see where the congestion is showing up at 351, Airline Highway at Old Hammond, Florida Street at Connell, Swan Avenue and Livestock, and also East I-10 at the split, stall abandoned vehicle, and it seems like it's stacking up too on Sherbrooke Avenue. Now we'll take a look and see what happens on your traffic cameras. We always split the screen up for you. It looks like it might be a little windy up there, and one of them, the camera kind of jumping around. I-10 at Acadian, pretty good slow up there as they head out of town and into town, coming off the bridge. We're running once again. I-10, you can see right there where that's stacking up. My goodness, what happened to that lower left portion? Somebody just really messed up the whole road there.
It's under construction.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Wow, that's some good. Let's watch that for a while. I don't know. You never know around here.
You never know.
But anyway, I-10-12, that might be where they're getting ready to put in the tunnel that is going underneath the Mississippi River Bridge to relieve that traffic
Wouldn't that
out
be
there
great?
too. So when we come back, hey, 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 hey. You know what that is, right?
No.
RD. It's my rain dance.
Rain dance. Yes, that's right. You were going to do that today. Can't wait to see that.
I just did it.
Oh, okay.
We'll have
We're
more
done with
on
that.
weather. Lots of news on this election day, and here's Brittany.
All right, thanks, Pat. Now, more to the story about today, Election Day. It's the busiest ballot in a decade. You're voting on a list of things from U.S. Senate to Congress to local government leaders like mayors and school board members. It's meant long lines at the polls, forcing people to get up early. This is in Port Allen, where people showed up to vote at Conn Elementary School. People were ready to make their voices heard.
It's important to be a part of the transaction between election and getting a person in office who you feel and know will do a better job.
In Baton Rouge, the Registrar of Voters office was surprised at the turnout. By lunch, more people had voted than expected. We've got team coverage of today's big vote, and it starts at one of the busiest polling locations in this city, Westminster Elementary off Drusilla. News 2's Rob Krieger is live there with how things are looking. Rob?
That's right, Britt. Here at Westminster Elementary, you actually have 3 precincts that all converge into one fantastic elementary cafetorium behind me. There are several voting booths and several people flowing in the entire time that we've been here, people in and out of the door trying to get into those booths to make their voices heard and have their vote counted today. Now, I spoke with some of the organizers and volunteers here. We're already at 1,500 voters in these 3 precincts alone, and they all tell me that it's actually more than they've seen even in similar elections, a midterm election in the past, it's more than they've seen then. They also tell me that they've seen more people early voting, which means not as many people at the polls. As far as getting your vote done here, it won't take too long. There's not too much of a line. You come in with your ID, fill everything out. You can go ahead and move on and get your vote counted. Make sure that you do it before 8 o'clock, because if it's after 8, you won't get to vote. But I'm sure they're going to let you vote if you're in line before 8 o'clock. And I know these folks, they've been here since 6 in the morning, nonstop. They are troopers. And we're going to be here at 5 and 6 as well, bringing you the very latest on this very important election day. Britt?
Thanks, Robin. We're following a long list of races tonight, including U.S. Senate and Congress and 14 constitutional amendments, but also these local ones, races for mayor in Zachary, White Castle, and Denham Springs. And almost every area district has school board races, including East Baton Rouge, Baker, Zachary, Central, Ascension, Iberville, and Livingston. Today, candidates joined you at the polls. U.S. Senator Mary Landrieu voted this morning in New Orleans. Before voting, she spoke to supporters and stumped for last-minute support. Congressman Bill Cassidy stumped the last few days in Baton Rouge, going door to door in the neighborhood where he grew up. In New Roads, there's a hotly contested race for mayor. Accusations have flown back and forth between incumbent Mayor Robert Meyer and challenger Cornell Dukes. Live there right now is News 2's Ryan Nakian, who will be watching returns all night long. Ryan?
Brittany, voters have been making their way out to the New Roads Courthouse all day long to cast their ballot. And what voters are focusing on is the controversial mayoral race where incumbent Robert Meyer is facing Cornell Dukes and Paul Aquila in this election. Now, in this last few weeks leading up to the election, Dukes accused Meyer of misusing a city-issued credit card. The credit card statements show that over a 3-year period, $155,000 of purchases were made on that credit card. Now, after that, Meyer struck back last Friday and accused Dukes of voter fraud. In one case, the mayor said Dukes bribed a person with $2 cash and a 40-ounce beer to vote for him. Now, neither side has been able to prove any wrongdoing in this case, but the controversy does have people coming out here and casting their ballots. Just talked with somebody inside and said that 50% of the people who are registered voters have already voted at this precinct. So the turnout is very high, and they expect even more turnout to come later on in the day, where they have people getting off of work coming down here to the New Roads Courthouse. We will follow this race very closely and have more on WBRZ and WBRZ.com. For now, that is the very latest in New Roads. Ryan Nakian, WBRZ News 2.
Thanks, Ryan. And it's a big day in other parts of the country, too. Marijuana and the minimum wage are on the ballots in some places. Karen Kafa looks at the items that'll heat up the night.
Hot races, superstar surrogates, congressional power on the line. It's still usually not enough to draw voters to midterm polls. Tuesday's turnout will likely come in around 40% of eligible voters. That's why some states put some hot-button issues on their ballots, like the politics of pot. In Florida, a medical marijuana initiative is seen by some political observers as a vehicle to get Democratic-leaning voters out to vote for Charlie Crist, who's in a tight race with incumbent governor Republican Rick Scott. Voters in Alaska, Oregon, and the District of Columbia face decisions on legalizing recreational marijuana. If approved, they'd join Colorado and Washington state and perhaps set the stage for more initiatives.
This feels like a set of dominoes, and once the first couple fall, we'll see them fall in a number of other states.
Less than 2 weeks after a school shooting in Washington state, voters there are weighing competing gun control initiatives. One would expand background check requirements. The other prohibit checks more stringent than the federal government's. And measures to raise the minimum wage also appear on multiple ballots. While Democrats have led the charge on the issue, 4 Republican-leaning states, Alaska, Arkansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota, could approve state measures as congressional efforts have stalled. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
In Louisiana, polls close at 8. Our live election coverage continues at 5 and 6 and all night long, starting at 7 p.m. on WBRZ Channel 2. Also, our website is updated live all night long, WBRZ.com. So busy day out there, and you're still doing your rain dance.
SRD.
Still
silent rain dance.
Silent rain dance.
Anyway, let's take a look at that extended forecast. We target showers rolling in tomorrow night into early parts of Thursday. This is going to be a nice little episode of rain. Maybe we'll pick up 3/4 to possibly an inch in some locations. Then you're cooled down again, 63. So we'll see if the
Silent rain dance
works.
Great. Thanks, Pat. Still to come on News 2 at 4 o'clock. Demolition began today for a high school with a very historical past. Plus, some stores decided to break tradition this season for the Black Friday shopping rush. You're watching WBRZ News 2 at 4, the only 4 o'clock newscast in the capital city.
Now, WBRZ News 2 at 4.
First, the top 4 headlines at 4. The prime suspect in a murder-for-hire plot takes the stand. A wife opens up about life in her fancy house and why her marriage was falling apart, but why she says it doesn't make her a killer. And candidates in the runoff for Senate wasted no time trying to stand out. The stump they're on today. Plus, preparations are well underway for the matchup in Tiger Stadium Saturday. And finally, it's official. Tickets going fast for T Swift when she comes to Tiger Stadium. How you can get your hands on tickets.
Now, WBRZ News 2 at 4.
First, the top 4 headlines at 4. Closing statements are underway in a murder-for-hire trial. More on the fate of a woman and the accused hitman. And 2 bodies have been pulled from a lake in New Orleans. Officials are investigating to see if they're linked to a major accident. Plus, low numbers spotted at the pump. It's been the biggest savings for drivers in a while. And finally, the government is trying to protect you while using your prepaid card. What's recommended during the busiest holiday shopping season? Good afternoon. I'm Brittany Weiss. Thanks for joining us for WBRZ News 2 at 4. More on those stories in a moment. But first, Pat Shingleton's packing the pod, stuffing storage containers for his annual Pat's Coats for Kids drive. He's live with the forecast and more on how you can help keep kids warm. Hey, Pat.
Brittany, thanks very much, folks. Thanks so much. We started this morning at 5 a.m. We've been here ever since, and it's been a wonderful day. Folks have been dropping off not only coats to put in the pods, but also cash and checks to purchase new coats. So a wonderful day and setting up a beautiful night tonight as the sun goes bye-bye. Let's take a look and show you what we have throughout the evening tonight. Clear skies are expected, as you know, as Josh was telling you at noontime. We posted a record low overnight. Now we're at 60 degrees with south-southeast winds running at 14, and once again, just a beautiful evening. We're going to take it down to 41 degrees tonight, so we start a little bit of a thaw out coming off that 49-degree reading at 10 o'clock. We're up to 68 for the afternoon high. So as we look to the extended forecast, stand by. Could be rough weather coming in Saturday afternoon into the evening, lasting into Sunday. We'll come back and talk about that, but we're also going to be back to interview and to collect more money and to thank you and collect coats. It's all going on right here at the Walmart on College Drive. So, Brittany, nice night, nice afternoon from a cold morning to a comfortable evening. Right now, back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Pat. Now let's take a look at the traffic out there, see what's going on. We have an accident, 357 at La Margie Avenue, North Christie. Another stall abandoned, 346, 100 South. 110 and Government. 355, there was an accident South Choctaw, Rushmore. 325, another accident Tiger Bend, Jefferson, and 322 accident North Foster and Frey. Let's split up the screen for you, see what's going on out there. Pretty good flow at I-10 at Perkins, I-10 at Essen, also looking pretty good. Where is that out there? That looks like there we go, I-10 at Perkins, there we go. Pretty good flow out there, and the split is looking pretty good too, so not too bad out there today. Interesting. Well, now more about a murder-for-hire trial that's coming to a close soon. It'll be up to a jury in West Baton Rouge to decide the fate of a wife and her accused hitman. Monique Kitts and Carl Howard are on trial in the death of Kitts' husband, Corey. Corey was found dead in the couple's upscale home 4 years ago. Alexa Vogue is live at the courthouse in Port Allen with the latest.
We're told it could be a long night, with closing arguments still going on and the defense taking up most of the day. They're trying to convince the jury to take their side and conclude that this woman had nothing to do with the death of her husband. She and the accused hitman are on trial together. Kitts is charged with second-degree murder, and authorities say she paid $100,000 to have her husband killed. The defense says prosecutors have no evidence, but have only told the jury's stories. Attorneys claim the district attorney's office is showboating because of the high-profile nature of the case. Defense attorneys use the closing arguments to poke holes in the prosecutor's star witness testimony, the accused getaway driver. But the DA says the defense team is lying and doing whatever it takes to get their clients off. Corey Kitts' family started screaming and crying when pictures of his dead body were shown today in court. And prosecutors say while the defense says everything is a coincidence, too many of them lead to facts. Now, we just took a 30-minute lunch break to finally allow the juries to get something to eat, and after that the defense will continue before the DA finally has one last chance to make the rebuttal before going into jury deliberation, and we are expecting to have a final decision made tonight. In Port Allen, Alexa Vogue, WBRZ News 2.
Thanks, Alexa. 2 bodies were pulled from Lake Pontchartrain near the Lakefront Airport in New Orleans today. There's no ID on the bodies yet, but there has been a search for 2 people missing after a plane went down in the lake last Friday. Today's discovery was about a mile from the airport that has a runway jetting into the lake. A flight instructor and a student were in the plane that crashed. In Baton Rouge, a school bus driver's off their route after a crash yesterday. The bus was loaded with kids when it was broadsided by an SUV in Old South Baton Rouge Tuesday morning. First student runs the bus and removed the driver from behind the wheel. One student on the bus was taken to the hospital. Police say the bus driver's at fault for not yielding to the other vehicle and were planning to give the driver a ticket when they met with him this morning, but the driver never showed up to meet with cops. But a better story on the roads today, cheaper gas, and the drop is saving you lots of money. We found it as low as $2.30 today. It's the largest plunge at the pump in 4 years since 2010. Right now, the national average is $2.86 in Louisiana. It's $2.69, the average here about $2.65. But price wars are making them even lower in some places of the city. It means the average driver is saving $42 a month.
Well, I got a truck, man, so filling up my truck it hurts, you know, and filling this up, we smile when we leave, especially from here, you know. 31.27, that's awesome.
We're digging deeper into this, checking the facts and looking ahead. Don't miss a series of reports on the price at the pump all evening on WBRZ News 2. Today, we're packing the pod for Pat's Coats for Kids. Pat Shingleton is live at the Walmart on College Drive collecting coats.
Hey, thanks very much, Brittany. We're happy to have with us our good friend Leo Gaines from the Consistory. Always good to see you.
You too, Pat. Thank you.
Quite a story about Leo, folks. A tour in Kuwait, Desert Storm, secondary corps tour, and then you were at Gitmo for a while.
Yes, sir, I was 1 year.
And we just celebrated Veterans Day. Thanks for your service.
Thank you, Pat.
Last year, second year in a row, the Consistory has been able to help Pat's Coats for Kids, and all day long, folks have been stopping by to drop off checks, so it's great to have you to stop by as well.
It's good to be here, Pat. And on behalf of Baton Rouge Consistory and our members and Marlon Yarborough, which is our Commander-in-Chief, I would like to present to you this check for $1,000.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for all that you guys are doing.
Oh,
God
that's
bless
good
you
stuff.
all.
And I know you guys are involved in the community in a lot of other ways too, and this is just one more message we send out to Baton Rouge. It's all people getting together to help others.
That's correct, Pat.
Good to be with you, Leo. Thanks again for your service.
Thank you.
Folks, just another example. Throughout the course of the day, we've been this is just absolutely great to pick up $1,000 from the Baton Rouge Consistory, but it's been going on all day as well as we continue to collect coats and also some cash up until 6 o'clock tonight. So we'll be back a little bit later. Again, we are live at the Walmart on College Drive for our Pat's Coats for Kids Pack the Pod. And as you can see back there, Leo, we're trying to pack it up.
Oh, yeah, we see it. Yeah.
Good being with you.
Yeah.
Brittany, back to you. I'll be with you with the weather in just a moment.
Thanks, Pat. Still to come on News 2 at 4 o'clock. An 11-year-old is spending the day with state troopers for a very special reason. Plus, Before you whip out that prepaid card for Black Friday deals, see why the government wants to implement new rules to protect you. You're watching WBRZ News 2 at 4, the only 4 o'clock newscast in the capital city.
Now, WBRZ News 2 starts with breaking news.
And that breaking story is happening right now in Ferguson, Missouri. We're watching it live. In 3 hours, we'll know whether or not a grand jury decided to indict the cop who shot and killed 18-year-old Michael Brown. The officer-involved shooting led to riots in the city near St. Louis. The grand jury's decision about the officer will be announced at 7 o'clock. Right now, that area of Missouri is on edge, and Chris Welch is there live.
For nearly 3 months, 12 jurors have reviewed the evidence and testimony surrounding Michael Brown's death. Police say Brown struggled with Officer Darren Wilson inside his police SUV, reaching for Wilson's weapon, and that's when a shot was fired. The teen took off running, and then, according to a friend of Wilson's, Brown turned and charged at the officer, and Wilson fired the fatal shots. But Brown's family and eyewitnesses say Wilson was the aggressor, shooting Brown as he raised his hands to surrender. Hands up. Now Ferguson is bracing for more protests. Authorities say they will not tolerate violence, and 400 National Guard troops will help police keep the peace.
It's bad because a lot of innocent protesters may feel threatened by the National Guard because the National Guard doesn't necessarily come off gentle towards the community.
In the months since Brown's death, activists have argued that the governor hasn't done enough to stop police brutality in Ferguson. But the police say they have worked diligently with the community to make safety a priority for all.
I've been working with a lot of community members to work on some progressive changes that will bring the community together and to open up dialogue and getting us all talking about serious issues and actually creating solutions to problems.
In Jennings, Missouri, I'm Chris Welch reporting.
We're monitoring the situation in Ferguson. We'll have more on News 2 at 5 and all evening long on WBRZ.com. In Baton Rouge, 2 families are reeling after these guys killed each other during a fight. 32-year-old Lester Reed stabbed 19-year-old Tevin Crump, then Crump shot Reed, and both guys died. This happened last night in the 5300 block of Washington Court between Hollywood and Evangeline in North Baton Rouge. Family members told WBRZ Reed asked Crump to leave his home, and the fight broke out when he refused.
We are very well heartbroken because they took someone that really held this family together. He was a loving person.
Investigators say Crump died at the scene and Reed was taken to the hospital where he died. You'll hear more from family members coming up at 5 and 6. More news in a minute, but right now, Pat's got the forecast at 4.